You just have to believe that there's a higher version of you that you can tap into, that can access higher level wisdom, insight, solutions, strategies, people, connections. If you believe it, and if you believe it strongly, it's amazing what happens in your life.
Hello, everyone. This is Kathy Caprino, and welcome to my podcast, Finding Brave. I've created this show for everyone who longs to create something bold and brave in their life, to rise up, speak up, and stand up for who they are, and to reach their highest and biggest visions. Each week, I'll be speaking with inspiring guests from all walks of business, leadership, entertainment, the creative arts, and the entrepreneurial world. And they'll be sharing their intimate stories of finding brave and offer their best strategies for building your most rewarding, joyful, and meaningful life, business, and career. Hey folks, Kathy here. Are you ready for a big positive shift in how you're working and what you're capable of achieving in your career? Let's make that happen for you. While you might know me best as a podcast host and writer, a key focus in my work is helping women achieve greater success in their work. In my Career and Leadership Breakthrough one-on-one coaching program, I help women get what they want most, which includes more confidence, impact, advancement, financial reward, and fulfillment. And I also help them achieve their most exciting visions for the future. In the past 16 years, I've worked with over 20,000 women across 6 continents. And before that, I served as a therapist. And before that, I was a corporate VP managing multi-million-dollar budgets and global initiatives. I leverage all of that experience to help women build a new chapter where they can reach their highest and happiest potential doing work they love. Check out kathycaprino.com/career breakthrough, and I hope you'll register now. I'd love to support you. Hello, everyone. Kathy here, and happy holidays to you. I hope your holiday season has been beautiful so far, and you're looking forward to a brilliant start of a new year. This episode is coming to you just a few days before New Year's Day, and I want to let you know that this is a repeat episode from 2018. I'm sharing it again because I believe this has material that's just perfect for a new year and has some powerful, reflective ideas, suggestions, and questions that will be truly important to answer so you can gain greater awareness of who you are, what you really want, and what matters most to you, so you can leverage all of that knowledge in the new year. Also, I want to point you to 3 other episodes that are really perfect for this time of year. Episode 186 with Joseph Grenny on how to have those difficult but crucial conversations with friends and family and colleagues. Episode 195 with Dr. Fred Luskin on how to forgive someone when you feel you can't. And episode 271 with David Jurasik on how to recognize and release the damaging shame you hold. I was truly floored and changed by this discussion I had with David. And it's been so helpful with my clients and course members that David and I are exploring now creating together a Train the Trainer program that combines his releasing shame framework with my Closure 7 Power and Confidence Gaps methodology. So I hope you'll stay tuned for more of that in the new year. And in the meantime, thanks so much for a wonderful year, my friends. And I'm wishing you a beautiful, joyous, and healthy new year. Enjoy. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Finding Brave. It's almost the new year. How we doing? How is it going? Did you find last week's podcast helpful about how to reduce conflict and pain with your family and friends around the holidays? I hope you did. I hope it was helpful. I certainly could listen to it again myself and take in those tips and have some powerful reminders. So I'd love to hear your thoughts. I hope it was helpful to you. And today we are going to be talking about 6 essential questions to ask for the new year. So let me start by saying, I think most of us know from our personal experiences, but we certainly read about this as well, that New Year's resolutions and those huge, hairy goals we set for ourselves in our lives, they often get planned with so much gusto and so much, well-meaning feelings of commitment, only for us to find that they just completely die on the vine
often by February or March, we just, certainly very shortly after we've written them down, we didn't create a structure around these goals. We didn't create an accountability process. We didn't break them down into digestible bits. We didn't have a way to keep going when the going got rough. It goes on and on and on. So I don't want to talk about New Year's resolutions today. Don't want to do it. I do want to talk about reflection, looking back on the past year and thinking about it deeply, thoughtfully, critically, as a way to get clear on what you really want in your life, and also help you connect in a powerful and juicy way with what you want to create and leverage and build on. The idea here is that nothing is wasted. Everything you've learned, everything you've experienced, even if you've fallen down flat on your face, which if you're stretching beyond your comfort zone, you probably will. Most of us fail miserably many times in our lives, and that's on the path to succeeding in a big way. I don't think you can really get to it if you don't have any failures. Anyway, what we want to do is leverage everything we've been and done and learned and failed at and thrived at, and then build on that for the next chapter of our life in the next year. So I'd love to explore here and give you some thinking about what I believe are 6 essential reflection questions that are really perfect for the end of the year and the beginning of a new year. They help us take stock. They help us grow in our appreciation and our gratitude of all of it. You can't just be grateful for the amazing stuff. It helps propel you forward when you can also be grateful for the difficult stuff, because you became more of yourself through that difficult stuff, I hope. And reflecting on these questions is going to set the wheels in motion for you to experience a happier, more abundant, prosperous, joyful, impactful year, whatever definition of a great year is for you. I think first we have to reflect. First, we have to sit in who we have been and what has happened in order for us to build something new. So the idea here is to spend a few hours, if you can, and maybe you can't sit down for 2 straight hours, but dedicate in total a few hours to this before the new year or immediately after, and answer as deeply and thoughtfully as you can these questions. You can write them in a journal, you can take out some white paper, but really do this in the quiet of your own room or on a park bench or at the beach or in the ski lodge, wherever you are, maybe with a hot toddy, whatever works for you. But I'm asking you to think deeply and thoughtfully and not shy away from the real truth about the answers to these 6 questions, okay? So, question number 1, what progress have I made this year towards my juiciest, most thrilling goals and visions that I want to make sure to celebrate and appreciate? So I want to tell you before I go too far, these questions are questions I work on with my Amazing Career Project course members. They're questions I work on with my clients. They're important things to answer. So why? Because they're going to give you perspective that perhaps if you just race through to the next year and just get through the holidays and, watch our sports games and hang out with the kids and eat too much and drink too much, we're not actually making use of the information that is our life. Our life is giving us information every minute. But I think often we miss it. We miss the lessons. We miss the juicy nuggets of truth. We miss the feelings of what we want and what we don't want and what we're no longer going to tolerate. So again, the question is, what progress have I made this year towards my juiciest, most thrilling goals and visions that I want to celebrate and appreciate? So I want to talk for a second about why we fail to acknowledge what we've done. It's so interesting as a coach. I will work with some people over a series of years or a full year or 5 years, and the progress they make tends to be amazing, but they don't see it. They'll have come to me saying, I want to quit. I'm miserable. I'm not successful. I'm broke. And in a year or year and a half, things are changed dramatically. They've gotten a promotion. They've started their entrepreneurial venture, but they don't see it as the amazing progress that it is. I think There's a number of reasons for that. One is when we're in the throes of it, it's kind of like, you know how when your own children are growing, you don't see how tall they're getting. But when you see another person's child who you hadn't seen till since a year ago, you're floored. How did they get so tall? It's 3 feet. That's kind of the same thing. We're in it. We're in the weeds, so we don't see it. Well, I want you to see it. I want you to see how far you've come. And if you do this every year, you're going to be able to look back and say, wow, I have come a long way. The second thing is celebrate all the wins, from the tiniest thing to the biggest thing, because they're all, often it's the micro steps, those tiny, tiny things that aren't even seeming like progress. Often those are the things that actually open the door for fantastic success. Deciding you're going to write a book proposal for your book and then writing the intro, fleshing out one paragraph or one preliminary chapter. It's not necessarily completing the book that is the biggest, most impactful step. It's sometimes the tiniest first step. So celebrate them all. And, I want you also to look back at what comes easily to me. So a lot of people simply look at accomplishments as the hard thing, but you're talented, you're gifted. What also came easy to you that was important to you, that gave you a feeling of self-respect and self-esteem, or helped someone else go further in their life? What came easily to you as well as hard? Okay. The second question is, what are the top lessons of this year? And how have they impacted how you think and speak and connect and engage and relate to the world and operate in the world? So, I've done one of the modules in the Amazing Career Project is the lessons your life is trying to teach you and why you're not learning them. So I will definitely link to that below. I talk a lot about lessons, and I don't mean those as, you're getting slapped with a ruler on your knuckles, that kind of lesson. I'm talking about when something happens. Let's say you have a fight in a relationship, or you're working with a consultant and it's not going well, or, you're struggling in some way. I always feel like when I can't figure something out, I'll say to myself, wow, this is not what I had in mind. This is way off the track. What do I need to learn? What am I not seeing? And almost always, I will get an answer in my mind. And I believe that comes from another dimension, but we can talk about that another time, because we can't solve a problem on the level of consciousness that created it, Einstein said. So sometimes these things come from a shift of consciousness. But no matter what's going on, if you stop and say, woo, wow, all right, I didn't like this. I don't want this. What lessons am I to learn? What is it that I'm not understanding that I have to do differently, think differently? Okay. So look at the top lessons of the year. Another thing to think about is when we fall down or fail. Again, it's not meaningless. It's not a waste. So many people come to me and say, oh my gosh, I'm 54. What a waste of, 10 years in that job, or taking time off when I feel I shouldn't really have, or they'll bemoan it and they'll regret it. And I really wish you would not do that. I really wish you could see it from my perspective, that everything is as it should be. If there was a reason you were off for 10 years, if there's a reason you had a toxic boss that flattened you, which I did, if there was a reason you got laid off, maybe it was you contributed to that, or it was completely undeserved. There are things you can glean from it that aren't about regret and how I screwed it up. So what can you get that's positive from it? Okay. Especially where you failed or fell down. Okay. What did you learn from that you would not have learned, that you would have not experienced, that you would not have gained if this thing didn't happen? Okay. Number 3 is, what are my 3 highest goals for next year for myself personally and for my work? So let's break this down a little bit. I'm right now in the phase of helping people who say, I have no idea what I want, but I know it's not this. Woo, do I know it's not this? So I am a fan of helping people realize they do have an idea what they want. They absolutely do. They just don't recognize that as a valid idea. So let's talk about the 3 highest goals. How do we figure this out? So let's look at it in 5 different ways here. What are the outcomes that you want to create? So maybe you don't know how to frame it as a goal, but you can write down outcomes like, I want to be a more present mother, or I want to be a stronger leader and not say I'm sorry and not winch and whine and question myself. Or this is my theme, I want to monetize what I'm already doing well and easily. So these are outcomes. So you don't have to see them necessarily as a goal. It's an outcome. I want to get healthier. I want to start using that creative talent of pottery or singing, or so outcomes that would make you feel like you're not wasting your time here on this planet, that you're doing something that's juicy and exciting, right? Another way to look at a high goal is, where can you turn your mess into a message? I don't know where I read that term, but I love it and I say it all the time. But one of the things I love most to do is when I really made a mess of something, I can't wait to go, wow, I can't wait to learn how to overcome this or turn this around so that I could teach other people how to bypass what I went through. I get a lot of juice out of turning my mess into a message. Could you? For instance, I have one client who's steeped into a job, a senior role in her family-owned business. And she says, I want to give back to entrepreneurs somehow, but I can't do that in this job. Yes, you can. Create a workshop on the top mistakes new entrepreneurs make or new small businesses make, and go and present it. Present it at the library, present it at the Women's Forum, present it at the Chamber of Commerce, present it. There are so many things you can do to turn your mess into a message. The third thing I want to talk about is why we get stuck on achieving a high goal is that we tend to agonize about the hows of it, the exact way. Like I've got a book proposal out to a number of publishers. I've learned this. If I overly attach, it's got to be this publisher, it's got to be this time, it's got to be this title. Holy cow, it's going to crash and burn. I've come to realize that there's more going on than meets my eye, and I'm not going to get all gummed up with the hows. If this book is meant to be written and meant to have a good audience, it's going to find a great publisher, it's going to find a great publishing home, it's going to go well. And I'm not going to agonize about the millions of hows. That doesn't mean I just sit there and, on my couch popping bonbons, going, woohoo, I'm going to have a book, and not do the work. I'm doing the work of it. I'm building the chapters. I'm doing the research that's required. So I'm showing up with all the evidence in my own mind that this thing is going to come to pass, but I'm not breaking myself against the hows. So these are ways to look at your goals, but create them. Here's another thing. Create them smart, specific, measurable, realistic, time-bound, so that you will know when you've accomplished them. So, if I say, for instance, I want to be a bigger thought leader, well, what does that mean? How would I define that? That's a moving target unless I say, oh, that means I do have a book published and I'm speaking, 20 times a year and my following has grown to this. Make them smart, specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound so that you can know that you've accomplished them, right? Another way to look at, I don't even know what I want here. Look at the feelings and the thoughts and sensations. Like, think about where you want to be in life and close your eyes and envision it with all of your senses. Sometimes I do this exercise where I close my eyes and I see my life as a video, that I'm separate from it, but I'm watching it. And let's say I pick one dimension of my life, let's say my speaking or being a thought leader. I'll actually envision being at a speaking gig and seeing the audience and seeing the room and seeing what I'm wearing, the thoughts and the feelings and the sensations and the experiences, and I see it with every sense, or I experience it with every sense. And, there's a lot about this. It's called creative visualization. Shakti Gawain wrote an amazing book, Creative Visualization. It's my favorite, but skillions of people have written about visualizing. Visualizing works. I think you've heard me mention I visualized my first book, Breakdown Breakthrough, and it came to pass. I visualized walking into the Borders bookstore, which no longer exists, with my two kids hand in hand, walking into that store and seeing the book. And by gum, did it not work out exactly as I saw it. Even the cover, I hadn't a clear idea what the design would look like, but I knew I had a sense of what the colors would be. And wouldn't you know, the art director presented something very similar. Visualizing works. So when you can't figure out, what's my New Year's resolution? What's my goal? Don't worry about it that way. Envision what would be a happier, more joyful, abundant, prosperous, successful experience and see yourself in it. And I promise you that paves the way for it to come to pass because you've already embraced it in your mind, in your heart, in your soul. Okay?
Hello, Kathy here. And thanks so much for tuning in today. I hope you loved the show. One quick thing I'd love to share with you is my new video course, The Most Powerful You. This course is the companion to my top-selling book, The Most Powerful You, 7 Bravery Boosting Paths to Career Bliss, which is now being published in Arabic, Chinese, and Polish. I'm honored to share that a division of the United Nations has sponsored the course for members of their staff. What a powerful leadership demonstration that is. This course has emerged from 16 years of coaching and training with women around the world, helping you learn how to ask for what you want and get it, to speak up for yourself, lead more confidently, to network with amazing mentors who connect you with exciting opportunities, and to help you overcome career disappointments that keep you from feeling valued and respected. If you're ready for a more inspiring, successful career, this is the program for you. Please take advantage of it and close any power gaps you may be facing today. Learn more at mostpowerfulyou.com. Thank you so much.
The fourth question. Before that, I want to talk about higher level help. I believe there is a higher self, and I believe there's also higher level support that we can tap into. If you're interested in that, write me an email and I will do a podcast episode on that. But if we want to look at it in the most kind of straightforward way, your higher self is your best self, your most expansive, positive, resourceful, creative self. You know when you're being your lower self. You're hopeless, you're nasty, you're not generous, you're coming from a place of me, and it feels like crap. You know what your lower self is. Well, your higher self is hopeful in the face of physical reality being not what you wanted it to be. It remains ever encouraging and it's resourceful. It has access to ideas and help and support and tools that your lower self kind of shuts off. So ask your higher self, just say, hi, higher self. Can you please help me identify and recognize new doors that could open for me and jump in them, seize them, ask for help just internally. And I promise you, you're going to start hearing your intuition, hearing your higher level help. It's when you're really in belief, in alignment with this concept that you can get higher level help, you're not going to believe how the doors open for you. And the craziest synchronicities, they're miracles, really. But you don't have to be woo-woo spiritual. You don't have to be religious. You just have to believe that there's a higher version of you that you can tap into, that can access higher level wisdom, insight, solutions, strategies, people, connections. If you believe it, and if you believe it strongly, it's amazing what happens in your life. The fourth question I want you to think about, we're talking about reflective questions before the beginning of the new year. In what new ways can I find brave next year that will help me grow, learn, and stretch beyond my comfort zone? And, if nothing comes while you're brainstorming on this, think about where you don't feel brave, where you've stayed deep in your comfort zone, where you're, for instance, desperate to leave this current job because you know you've outgrown it, but you won't do it. You won't change your resume. You won't get on LinkedIn. You won't connect. You won't network. You won't go to industry association meetings. You won't meet anyone else. Or let's say you want to feel more respected. I have a client who wants to feel more respected, but in a way, and she knows because we've talked about this, she's waiting for validation. That's what she's waiting for. And I said, let's shift that. Forget the validation. Go out and ask for projects. Identify 2 or 3 projects that would make you feel self-respect. When you do that, you're not looking in the horizon for who's going to say you're great. You have your own self-respect. And that's a finding brave endeavor. You go and you ask, this is a project that I would like to work on. I've worked out the basics. Would you give me permission, boss, to take this project on or oversee or spearhead this volunteer effort or this cause or this community endeavor? Where can you stretch beyond where you are? The project, the cause, the volunteer effort, the hobby. You know, you've heard me talk about singing is my world. I don't want to make a living doing it. I've done a ton of singing my entire life. I'm not happy without it. And, you know, I certainly am open to anytime anyone asks me, I'm open to thinking about, yeah, I'll join that concert with you or sing at your church to help you, you know, fill out the choir. What endeavor can you engage in? And it can be the smallest thing, but that will make you feel more alive and more connected to who you really are and what you're doing on this planet. Okay. Number 5, what new habits do I want to commit to build a healthier, happier, and more balanced approach to life and work? So look, we all know this, I think. If you're like me, you know that to incorporate a new behavior, we've got resistance to it or we'd already be doing it. I want to exercise more. I want to lose 10 pounds. I want to maybe go vegan. I want to build more friends. I want to engage in that hobby of mine that I was so good at. I want to make jewelry. I want to write a cookbook. But if there's any resistance, you have to know that you're not going to get this thing done unless there's a habit built around it. So if you want to write a blog post or a blog, you're going to have to create a habit. All right, Wednesdays at 2:00, I am going to write. I'm going to write 500 words every Wednesday at 2:00 because that's a time in my schedule I can do it. Or, you know, I'm going to give you an example. I have a gym in my apartment complex. It's gorgeous, but I also take care of my little beagle for half the week who cannot be left alone. So I can't bring her into the gym because it's a community space and no dogs allowed. So if I say I'm going to exercise every day, that's just a lie, or in that gym anyway. That's a lie. I can't bring the dog. So don't kid yourself about what you say you're going to do. Come up with a habit that works with what you know is a challenge for you. So for me, I'm going to start taking tennis lessons again. I was a really good tennis player in high school, went to the States in New York. I adore tennis, but I don't have a habit in my life built in. Well, I'm going to take lessons, join a league if I can, build the structure around doing it, right? So what habit can you build that's going to help you get to where you want to go? And if you need accountability, most people do. Most people do not. I interviewed a wonderful guy. You're going to hear that soon, Ajit Nawalka. And he said it depends on a personality if they want accountability or not. I don't actually see that. Every person I know who has a big goal, who's achieving massive things, loves accountability in their life and benefits from it. I mean, maybe not every single person. We can't lump everybody into the same category. But the people I work with who are doing huge things, well, they're coming for coaching, so they want accountability, but they thrive when they're not just hacking it out on their own. They want some structure, some accountability where they're telling somebody they're doing it and they're getting ongoing mentorship, input, critique, whatever it is. So what habit can you build that's going to help you get to where you want to go? And number 6, last but not least, what power gaps do you need to close in order to reach that highest version of yourself that you're most excited about? So let me just refresh. I did a whole podcast on close your power gaps. I'll link to it below. But again, here are the 7 Power gaps that keep so many people from thriving in their life and in their work. Number one, they don't recognize their special talents, abilities, and accomplishments. They don't see it. They say, I'm not special. I don't have anything unique. It's just not true. It's like looking at your thumbprint and saying it's not unique. It is unique. You just have to see the pattern of how it's unique, and you might need some extra help for that. And I'm here if you do. Power gap number two, communicating from fear, not strength. I wrote a blog post on why women say they're sorry when they're not. I am intensively focused on many, many different ways that women communicate less powerfully than they need to, less authoritatively. I was just talking to a client an hour ago that I'm having a struggle with one consultant I'm working with, and I am being excruciatingly clear, and I'm not apologizing for what I need and what I want, and I'm not going to back down. And that was not me 20 years ago. So where are you communicating from fear? You're apologizing, you're denigrating, you're flattening yourself instead of strength. Power gap number three is reluctance to ask for what you deserve. Okay, this is the year, folks. This is the year. If you deserve a plum job, if you deserve a raise, if you deserve your spouse to do more than he or she is doing, if your children are taking advantage of you, if your friends are walking all over you, if you've held a role at a volunteer organization and you want a better role, different role, juicier role, now is the time to ask for it. And if you can't, you've got to look at why you're reluctant. You've got to look at it, close that power gap. Power gap four is isolating from influential support. There is support, just like we talked about, higher level support waiting for you to help you. But if you isolate and you won't ask for help, you're never going to get it. And you're going to stay stuck. Power gap number five is acquiescing instead of saying stop. That means you are observing or receiving behavior that is no longer or never has been acceptable or tolerable. If you're getting bullied, if you're getting harassed, if you're getting discriminated against, if someone's taking advantage of it, it is time that you say, okay, let me be really clear. This has to stop. And there are many ways you can do that at work, at home. But are you acquiescing instead of saying stop? Power gap six is losing sight of your most thrilling dream. People are happiest when there's something exciting, their potential that they're moving towards fulfilling. People are happiest when they're on the path to fulfilling their highest potential. And if you feel like, oh, I've lost sight of it, I don't care, I don't know, then there might be some depression. Many times the people I speak to, when they're kind of flatlining emotionally, there's depression. And sometimes that's contextual. Sometimes it's been in their life since they were born. But it's time that you grab sight of something that makes you feel more alive. It's a beautiful feeling. Okay. And finally, power gap seven is allowing past trauma or difficulty to define you. This could be about every person I've ever spoken to. Very few people have been taught how to be resilient. Most of us don't know how. And it's something that you get taught. I mean, that's something that needs to be taught. But people that I know, and I'm in that bucket, it took me, 7 years to overcome being laid off in a brutal way. I said I was over it, but I wasn't over it. You can tell. How do you tell? By the conversations you have in your head about it, about that boss that did that to you, or your ex-husband, or how could that narcissistic person do that to you? Oh my gosh, I've had all of these. I finally know when I've let go of something, when I don't ruminate about it anymore. Like a day goes by and I haven't thought about it. Woohoo, okay, I'm free of it. But are you letting the past define you? Are you telling stories about, and I've done just a recent podcast about that. I'll link to that below too, about how to reduce pain and conflict with others. Are you telling stories that are hurting you? Are you telling stories about yourself that you're wrong about what happened? Or the way you're framing it just keeps you so down, as opposed to another way. In therapy training, we learned about the reframe, which is how to tell the story so that it fits the facts equally well. It's not a lie, but it opens the door for as much positivity and hope and expansion as possible. I tell you, once you can reframe a traumatic event, and see it differently, you can finally let it go. I hope that was helpful, everyone. So the 6 essential questions for reflecting on where you have come from and what you want to build in the future. I hope that's helpful. I really do. And I wish you all the most joyful holiday season and a fantastic new year, full of growth and hope and positivity and love and connection and abundance. And I leave you with this idea. I love coming up with one word that's a theme for what you're going to focus on in the coming year. One of my themes, I've got one for business, and that's monetize. As I said, I'm going to not be racing around in 20 different directions for my business, but focus on the things that I love, that bring me meaning, and monetize them better. What would I think about it? Let's think about it together. What's a theme for your personal life? I'm going to think about it and let you know. I'll post a comment underneath this podcast. It's probably going to be something around connection, connecting more expansively with people that would like some help, people who can help me. Connection, I think I'm going to go for. And make it one word. I have friends and colleagues and people I hear from who have 5 words. I want one word, the thing that you want most in your life that you are committing to helping bring in and create. I hope that's helpful, folks. Happy, brave new year. And I'm sending so much love and light to you. And I'm so grateful for you listening in and supporting me in this Finding Brave project and giving me your insights and ideas and I'd love to hear your ideas for new episodes. Just send them to me via email, Kathy@kathycaprino.com, or find me anywhere on social media. I am on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest. Woohoo! Find me and connect. I'd love to hear what's going on in your life and any way I can help you. Much love to you. I'm going to sing a song here. Here it is. Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should old acquaintance be forgot and days of old lang syne? For old lang syne, my dear, for old lang syne, we'll take a cup of kindness yet for old lang syne. Happy New Year! All right, see you next year. Bye, everybody.
Hi, folks. Kathy here. So are you thinking about launching a new podcast, or have you been at it a while and recognize it's time for more or better production help to create the best podcast you can? I totally understand. I've been podcasting for over 6 years, and I know how challenging it can be. That's why I'm really excited to share some key information about the great production team I'm using now called We Edit Podcasts. I've been working with them for well over a year, and I've been so happy with the results. They're a full-service production agency, and their services give me access to a wonderful team of seasoned audio engineers and editors who help create a polished, professional sound. And they work hard to ensure that my particular podcasting approach and style comes through in every episode. They also help me make sure that my guests are reflected in the best possible light through the creation of terrific show notes, which is an important part of the show for me. Their process is easy and streamlined, and their responsiveness and customer service is terrific too. If you're ready for better production help, definitely check them out and take advantage of their free trial episode, allowing you to sample their process and quality to see if it's a great fit for you. I'm confident you'll love them. Just go to the link weeditpodcasts.com/findingbrave. That's my special link for you, and book your free call today. Happy podcasting. Thanks so much for joining us today. And please don't forget to check out findingbrave.org for more programs, resources, and tips. And tune in next time for your weekly dose of Finding Brave.